Axel come there and bought that and opened it all up.
Okay, what was this guy's name now?
Axel Anderson.
Axel Anderson.
Alton and Ray were his sons, and Ray was just buried a month or so ago.
Okay.
And he lived there until
And
he and his mother lived there, Alton and his mother. And then he married late in life, and this Whitehead is there. He's a painter.
Uh-huh.
And I think he bought it from Anderson's, and he lives there.
Okay.
Yeah.
You can't even see it.
And of course, across the road here belonged to the Hans.
And now we're coming up on the Pike Lake Pavilion, it was called at one time.
Well, it was Bungalow Beach.
There you go. That's
And that was started by Colonel Henry Johnson.
It was.
Yes. Well, Henry sold it to people by the name of Hewlett. And Mrs. Hewlett was a sister to Roy Jackson. And they lived here until in the early 20s. And they sold to people by the name of Wells from Sioux City, Iowa. George Wells was the youngest engineer that pulled an engine on the Illinois Central out of Sioux City, Iowa.
Really?
Come up here and started at Bungalow Beach. Well, they went broke.
Well, what was Bungalow Beach?
Well, it was all cottages.
Yeah?
And a dance hall. And a dining hall.
Okay.
And they kept a couple of cows and a saddle horse and put up a little hay on that field. And lots of boats to rent out. Okay. And it was quite a paying proposition, but George drank too much.
Okay.
They lost it. Well, then, I don't know, Lutheran Bible Camp got a hold of it.
Yes.
Fern cooked there for 2 or 3 seasons. Well, old Louis Bragstead had something to do with it. He was a kind of a kingfish in it.
Oh,
well, then there was Unity. Unity was another one. That's who Fern worked for, and that's who Bragstead worked for.
I see.
Well, after Unity left, then who got it?
Well, it's been...
Well, I guess Keith Olson and Steve Barrett.
Okay.
And they were in partnership, and now Keith has it all by himself.
Okay.
I don't know. I suppose it does all right.
And here we have Pike Lake in the distance.
Well, old Ed Bellman, that was the old Summerfields had that.
Okay.
Old Billy Summerfield lived there. And Bellman came there, oh boy, I suppose 1915, 14. He came from You Bet. He'd been out there, and he had a 1916 Model T or 15.
Really?
Brass radiator. Yes, he had that, and they made a trip to Montana with it. And back again.
Oh, my goodness.
His wife's people were in Montana, Lindelius. Well, Bellman lived there until, I suppose in the mid-50s he died. And Carly and his mother lived there, and Carly drank it up.
Uh-huh.
He drank the whole thing.
Yes,
he drank it up. Well, then they moved him into the Golden Age Manor. He's been there for...
He was never married, was he?
No.
Yeah. I remember him.
Oh, sure.
He had a limp.
And you see, the old man, Bellman, was a full brother to Henry Anderson, Ed's dad.
Oh, I see.
And Albert Anderson was another brother married to Claus Johnson's sister.
Oh, my.
Yes.
They're all related.
They're all related. Well, Bellman built some cottages and rented them out. They're all gone. He just threw them together. They built better ones now.
Sure.
And then Howard Vassaw, this was part of the Vassaw farm, you see.
Okay.
And Howard sold this off for a pretty good figure. And then they built on it, you know.
Uh-huh.
And that, Henry Anderson started that place. He built the barn and the house.
Oh,
Come
really?
from You Bet. He was a blacksmith. And he come from You Bet. And he built the barn and the house. And lived there. That's where they lived when we come to the neighborhood. And then he bought that over there from Sam, I believe, 40 acres. Then he got another 20 from Mrs. Schaefer. So he had 60 acres.
Okay.
So Wayne Greenlee lives here now. And that has all been built up. I don't know who owns it, a thing about it. But Vassaw's came there in 1910 on that place.
Uh-huh.
From Wagon Landing. That was originally, he bought it from Johnny Kelly. Johnny Kelly was a brother to old Billy Kelly in the Equity, if you remember. And Johnny went to Rice Lake.
Okay.
He had two boys, I know them both. But Andy Cameron lived there. He was a brother-in-law to Charlie Adams, Minnie Cameron. And I guess he's the man that opened it up. I don't know. That was long before my time.
Now, they had 20 acres here going down to the lake, huh?
Yeah. They had more than that. They had 40. But Henry bought...
Oh, Henry bought the 20.
20, and they kept this,
So
yeah.
he got 60 over there on that side.
Henry bought the 20, and then he bought 40 from Mrs. Schaefer.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's how it was. So he had
Okay.
60 acres.
Uh-huh.
Then they bought the Stapleton place.
Okay.
That was an 80.
Okay.
So it made him a pretty good farm.
Right. So that's all that's left now of the Vassal. You can
That's
see
all.
the foundation of the barn.
Foundation of the barn. Well, the house, of course.
Yeah, house is there.
But the foundation of the barn. That Ned Pace built the barn. 1916.
Is that right?
He built Kinney's in 1915, and both barns are gone. They were well-made barns, too. Now, Kinney's, George Kinney's father, came there at an awful early date from Deronda. Bill Kinney. And when George was 9 years old, well, they sent old Bill Kinney to the insane asylum.
Oh, no kidding.
And he was a brother to Mrs. Jake Smith. Well, they had a tough time. I've heard George's mother tell about it. They had a hard time to make a living. They lived on pretty near nothing. Until Clarence and George got old enough to go on the drive. Then things were better. They got a little money out of that.
Okay.
And then George got married, lived there. And in 1920, he bought that other place, and Father says, don't do it. Oh, boy, he says, the man that buys, the man that makes money. The man that sells is going to lose. But that wasn't the way it worked out. They pretty near lost the whole thing. He had this place paid for, and $6,000 in money when he went up and gave $25,000 for that Greyfall place.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
He'd have been fine and dandy if he'd have left that alone. And all that good fencing that Vassar's had is all busted down.
They divided the 80 into 4 strips, I remember.
Yes, yes. Well, that was done many years. That was done before Vassar's came here.
What was?
Yes. It was 4 strips.
Uh-huh. 20 acres each.
Yeah.
Long.
And they rotated.
Uh-huh.
They raised good crops.
Uh-huh.
They raised awful good crops. Yeah.
Says there's a goldsmith that lives there now.
Oh, yes. Mary Goldsmith, sure.
Mary Goldsmith.
Yeah, Glenn's wife. They parted. They had 8 kids, then parted.
Oh, my.
Yeah. And, of course, old Jake Smith come across the road there on that
Okay.
place.
Yeah.
In the early day. You remember him?
I remember him. You bet.
Well, old Jake opened that rocky bugger up.
That was a rocky one.
Oh, yeah.
wasn't it?
So all of these are. And, of course, this one was West. You remember
Oh, yeah.
Ernie West?
Yeah.
His father. There were 4 boys, Ted and Art, Ernie and Earl. And the West were there, and then Myerses came, gosh, I don't know, before our time. And they lived there, and the water tank was the other side of the house where that other building is. And Paul played with me all afternoon. And he sat on the edge of the tank watering the horse, and he just wrapped the rope around his leg like that. And the horse throwed up its head and went toward the barn, and there was a steel gate over where those chopper boxes are. He went through that steel gate and down, this was a road then, down this road and down as far as our place, and I unsnapped the horse.
No kidding.
Deader than hell.
Huh.
I put the horse in the barn. And Paul was dead, my playmate.
Oh, no.
He was 11, I believe.
Uh-huh.
I was 12. Well, he was a half-brother to Cliff Chapman. Well, then Cliff Chapman come on the place. And then the old lady remarried, and old Chapman, he went up on Weiberg's. And
Well,
she-
is this part of the old original house now?
That's it. Robert Jones remodeled it.
He did?
Yeah. Did a good job, made quite a house out of it. Yeah, that's the original, but the barn is gone.
Barn is gone.
But that's the original barn there on that place.
Yeah.
Old West built that.
Then Leon Jones bought it.
No,
There was
Chapman, and then, well, there was Pete Geis was on there, and Federal Land Bank had
Oh,
it.
yeah,
And,
okay.
oh, I don't know, there was a dozen of them on there.
Okay.
And then Frank Green was on it. Pete Geis, oh, there's so many on that place. Well, old Dan Fox came from Maine in 1867, and he took that, and Sam took the place where Wayne is now. Well, Dan stayed there. Finally, Charlie was the only child, and he was to have the place for $1. And old Lady Fox told old Smith they never got the $1.
Never got the dollar.
Never got the $1. He was no good. Well, anyway, he went west. And old Charlie Mitchler bought it from him and stayed there for 8 years. And then Grant Sarver bought it, stayed over winter, and Pa bought it in the spring of 1920. And
1920?
Yep. Then I stayed there until 1960. That's right. Yeah, did a lot of hard work on that thing.
Lots of hard work.
Built a house.
Built
Your
a
dad
house.
built a house for me.
24 by 24.
That's right.
Yeah, I remember that. How much did that house cost?
Less than $400.
Yeah.
Of course, I had my own lumber. And I traded what I didn't need for material. Actual cash, that's what it cost. That old barn was shingled in 1950, the last time. And that granary I built, Glenn Hub to build it for me, in 1956. The other one burnt, shed and the granary burnt. And I put up the granary on the same foundation.
Yeah.
And the old house hasn't changed much.
Any fond memories, is there?
No, they're not
No.
fond. I wish I'd have got off in it years before. Nothing fond about
It isn't.
doing a lifetime of hard work.
Well,
And
I
getting
guess
shot in the
we've all
face.
done that.
I suppose.
That's life, I guess.
I guess it is.
And that amounted to 40 acres on the west side of the road and 80 on the east.
That's
yeah?
right. That's right.
That land laid pretty nice here.
That was a good farm.
Uh-huh.
But it was rocky.
That was rocky here, too.
Oh, yes. It was rocky. Yeah, I used to have the barnyard here. The cows went across
Yeah.
into the pasture.
In the dry years, you opened up
Oh, yes. We had
back
canary
there.
grass in there. You bet.
in the swamp there. I remember
You
that,
bet. We
walking
had
back in
canary
there.
grass. Yeah, and that's what saved us. Oh, yeah. Yeah, that is good land.
Now we'll just duck over the hill here and get down into the little valley here where the swamp went through,
Yeah, the water went through there.
where our property
That started right here.
kind of met yours here in this
Yeah,
corner.
right there in that corner.
Yeah, all grown up now.
All grown up. Yeah.
Yeah, I remember that. Used to be just open.
This wasn't as good a 40 as the rest of it.
No,
And that pine tree finally died.
no kidding.
It had an awful time living. Got struck by lightning in the early 20s. And Seth Thompson's bull got in there and rubbed the heck out of it. And it lived until this year. Now it's gone. Yeah, that's where,
And there's
why. Never been pastured. There's some of the old fence that I put in.
Yeah,
By God.
swamp that laid in here.
Yeah. There's a bunch of jack pine trees on that corner that the wind took.
Yeah.
But
And here's the tail end of our farm, the hill here, and
yeah,
the swamp. We kind of covered that here about 15 minutes ago when we came down.
yeah.
Now we'll just drive up here
And
and
we cut the wood off that side hill. That
yeah,
It's all growed up to another growth to cut wood on again.